Welcome. I am so excited that you are here and that you are interested in learning about energy cord cutting, the 9 steps to freedom. Let's start with what are energy cords? Energy cords are connections that we establish at the biofield level in order to exchange energy and information with other people. Similar to phones sending and receiving information through radio waves, every person emits vibrations and communicates information through the human energy field. What is this biofield, this human energy field? The biofield is a field of energy that surrounds our physical body. Some people call it aura, and it contains electromagnetic and subtle energy, which allows the transmission of information between people. This energy field forms a matrix or a blueprint that allows us to interact with the world and exchange emotional and mental frequencies and vibrations through energetic cords. Similar to using Wi-Fi to exchange photos or like AirDrop to exchange videos and other information, people exchange energy at the biofield level through temporary and permanent energetic cords. And it's not just people, also animals and plants and nature, we all exchange energy. But in regards to people, we establish those cords, and some are temporary, some are permanent. And the temporary cords are the emotional and mental connections that are established for a brief moment, such as when you meet someone at a party and you never see them again. These cords usually dissolve on their own. There's no really an attachment when it's a temporary cord. Permanent cords are emotional and mental attachments that we set up with people who are in our lives for a little longer, longer periods of time, or with people who there is an emotional or a mental connection, strong attachment, such as a friendship, a coworker, family, or maybe you just fall in love at first sight, or any other example like that. So connecting to another person energetically is just part of human nature, is part of connecting as human. And it allows us to interact and bond at deeper levels, enhancing our body's vibration and keeping us safe. So why cut the cords? Well, not all connections are healthy. Some people connect through manipulation, hurt, or control. Some relationships just change, some mature, and some just simply end. I don't know if you've had a friend or you've heard of someone who is having a really hard time letting go of an ex. Or maybe people who have difficulty letting go of someone who passed away, or even a job. These type of attachments can be toxic. They can drain your energy and they can impede you from living your life to the fullest. When any of these cords connections stop enhancing your vibration, but instead they contaminate or deplete it, you need to cut them. So, how do we cut the cords? For many, many, many reasons, we made the choice to connect to another person, and we can also choose to disconnect from that person, disconnect the cords. We can discontinue these unhealthy connections that keep us trapped in detrimental energetic patterns. And in order to cut these cords effectively, you need to understand why maybe you remain attached. What purpose did this connection serve? And who would you be if you were no longer attached? These are important questions that need to be explored before you cut these cords. All right, so let's head over to the 9 steps to cutting these energetic cords. And before we get started in these steps on letting go, let me give you a few tips. The first one is prepare your surrounding, your environment, so you don't have distractions. And it feels safe for you to explore and trust the process. Now, if you're a practitioner who is facilitating this for someone else, just make sure that your ego is not involved, that, oh, I know what's happening. Just trust that this is going to flow and allow your and your client's intuition to flow naturally. Remember also that that is very important to proceed with love and compassion for yourself and for the other person involved. Many times we hold resentments or there's pain when we're trying to cut these cords. So just remember that when we have resentment, that is one form of attachment. So we need to proceed with a lot of compassion and love. We all possess an internal sense that guides us if we pay attention. Use your internal guidance to adjust where necessary. Let go, relax, and ask for support from your higher power if needed. Use your intuition or say a prayer for the Creator, for God, for Spirit to help you in cutting cords. All right. The following steps then are the basic guidelines in cutting energy cords. The first step is begin the technique by thinking or visualizing that person or that entity that you want to cut cords with. This person, of course, doesn't have to be right in front of you. They don't have to be present because the work is going to be done on your side. Now, work with one person or one entity at a time. Okay, so visualize that person. The second step is tuning into your body and notice the areas that call for attention. Perhaps you start feeling a tingle or some pressure, some tension, some heat maybe, any sensation that you are feeling, any awareness, anything that is calling to any parts of your body. And start keeping track of each area that is standing out, your knees, your elbows, your neck. The third step is start noticing the cords on each area of your body and notice if there's one cord or many cords attached to each area. There are no limits to how many cords you can find, from 1 to 1,000. There might be multiple connections or a bundle of cords attached to one area. So for example, one of my clients had this helmet that had hundreds of cords connected on the top of her head. I had another client who had twine or like roots of a tree intertwined on her heart area. Just scan your body and notice all of the cords that you have until you cannot find any more cords. Just look everywhere until you are certain that there are no more cords attached to you. The fourth step is identify one cord at a time or one of the bundles at a time, the consistency of each cord. What does it resemble? What is the composition? Now, this section requires that you imagine or visualize these cords. So just trust what you perceive. Of course, if you're having difficulty, just use your intuition or ask divine guidance. Now, cords, of course, can look like a metal chain, the root of a tree, a cable, a string, anything that you imagine it to be, and keep track of each. The fifth step is, once you have identified each cord, now start cutting. One by one, you are going to cut each cord by selecting a very specific tool. For example, you may pick a diamond saw to slash the root-like cord located in your heart. Or you may use pliers or scissors or a chainsaw or a laser or whatever tool you feel will do the job. And make sure that you take your time cutting it fully and completely. Don't rush it, just take your time. Now with each cut on step 6, make sure that no parts are left dangling, no ends are left hanging, so these cords don't reattach. Visualize the ends of each cord dissolving into nothingness, turning into butterflies or sparkles, whatever it is that you want it to be, or even being reabsorbed by your body as well as the other person's body. Now, don't worry where it's attached in their body. Just visualize the cords being reabsorbed on their side as well. Some cords may take a little longer than others to cut. So in step 7, you are going to notice that if you find a cord that you have a little bit of difficulty cutting, you're going to ask a little more information of why this is hard to cut. So maybe you are having a hard time letting go, or you believe that if you cut it completely, the relationship is done, or anything like that. Just bring awareness. Generally, bringing awareness allows the process to continue smoothly. You may also ask for divine support and guidance. Step 8 is visualize those places in your body where you cut each cord, where those cords were connected, and visualize them getting completely shut and sealed. So imagine it's like a wound that is healing and is closing, and new tissue is being generated there. Once all of the cords are cut, dissolved, and sealed, visualize first a violet light enveloping you and healing all parts of you where these cords were attached, kind of like a balm, sealing and healing you. And after the violet light has completely soaked your entire body energy field, you visualize an orb of golden light surrounding your body and energy field, protecting your aura, protecting you from these cords from reattaching again. And close the steps with a prayer of gratitude for yourself, for the lessons that you learn with this relationship, for divine guidance, for this other person, for being there to teach you whatever it is that you needed to learn, and for this process in general. Gratitude is one of the highest vibrations there is. So close with a prayer of gratitude. Now, some people have questions when I teach this class, so I thought I would add a few questions just to clarify some aspects. Now, will the other person know that we are cutting cords? Yes. They might not be able to explain it, but they can feel this technique work. I had a client who was getting ready to marry, and she wanted to cut any cords that she had with any ex in her life, and especially one she hadn't seen in a couple of years, but still she could feel his energy attached to her, and she did not want that. So she did this technique, and that same evening he contacted her. After 2 years of not talking to her, he wanted to wish her well and part ways. So people may reappear in your life out of the blue. They may actually all of a sudden have an event that was significant for them, or they start having success in their lives. This is validation that you finally let go, that you freed that person to be the best that they could be, as well as you. Now, another question I often get is, will healthy cords be accidentally cut? And healthy cords don't need cutting, and they're not going to show up in your awareness. So of course they won't be accidentally cut. So it's similar to like replacing rusted electrical wiring in your home, and you're not going to grab the wiring that is healthy, that is good. You're going to only grab the wiring that is rusted, and you're going to replace that. The next question I often get is, if I cut cords, am I cutting the relationship altogether? Now, you are only cutting the cords that are no longer helpful. A lot of people say, like, well, I want to cut cords with my mom or my dad or whatever, but I don't want them not in my life. I want them to still be in my life. And what you are doing is sort of like pruning a tree. You are trimming the dead branches. You're not cutting the entire tree. So you don't have to worry about about cutting the relationship. You are just getting rid of those connections, that exchange of energy that is toxic and no longer serves you. Now, next question is, how do I confirm that there are no cords left? Now, use your intuition. Your intuition will tell you when everything is complete. You will feel a relief. You will feel a difference. Now, if you want to use a method, like an intuitive method, like muscle testing or pendulum testing, you are welcome to do that. You can double check or confirm the information, like where are they located, or how many are there in general, or is this complete, can we move on? You can use that if you prefer. How many times do I have to do this technique? Now, this technique can be done multiple times if you need it with the same person. So for example, you may have like a family member or even a whole family that you have to see for the holidays, or you may have a boss that you have to see every day. But you have to stay interacting with them. And so what you can do is every day after work, you do this energy cord cutting with the boss. Or every time you go visit your family, after you're done or at the end of the day, you cut cords with the family as often as you need it. Now, if you are doing it with someone that is, you don't have an interaction with, you don't have to see them, they are no longer in your life, or the relationship is healthy otherwise, you only have to do it once. You don't have to do it more than once. It's done and it's done. What if I'm still holding on to resentments? Or if you're facilitating for someone, and what if your client is holding on to resentments and don't want to cut those cords? So make sure that this technique is done with compassion for yourself and for the other person. And start noticing if you are gaining anything out of holding on to this resentment. And check your willingness to let go. Some people say, well, if I let go and I forgive, that person is going to get away with what they did. And that's not true. You're holding them hostages. So you're holding yourself hostage too, and you're not freeing yourself. Of course, you have free will, and this might not be the right time to cut the cords. Maybe the pain is too new or too fresh, and you are not ready to do that. So just look inside and see if this technique is appropriate for where you're at right now. With a lot of compassion, no judgment, just knowing that there's a process for everything. Can we cut cords with deceased people? Yes. Now, some people hold on to the deceased for a little too long, which blocks them from moving on and living their own life. Now, the memories of the deceased will not be erased. It's not like you're going to forget them. Just the cords are going to be cut. The cords that are maintaining that attachment, those unhealthy connections. So, as you're cutting cords with people that have passed, set the intention for this grief that you may be experiencing to be replaced by love and understanding that you are connected at another level that goes beyond this energetic level. You are connected through love, through your memories. You are connected at any at a different way and vibration and dimension that is beyond this one right here. So letting go of those cords is actually healthy for you to do. Now, cutting cords benefits not only us, but the other person or people involved. When we hold on to resentments, we're holding ourselves and the other person hostage. This means that no one is free or able to move on while these cords are attached. So, despite the pain the other person or situation may have caused or inflicted, it is best for everyone to release them and forgive them. Once you are free, I promise you, you will see energy flow and your opportunities are going to open up for you. Thank you for watching this class, for learning these techniques. At the center of your being, you have the answer. You know who you are and you know what you want. Lao Tzu. Thanks again.